dangerous. If you guessed surface waves, you're correct. Alright, here we go. There is a PDF document titled Rock Cycle that's attached to this assignment. If you can print it out and work along with me, that's amazing. If you can't, get some notebook paper and follow along.
Today we are going to talk about rocks. I'm going to start in the upper left-hand corner of the PDF document where it says Formation of Sediments. When we talk about rocks and the rock cycle, we always talk about rocks being broken down and becoming new types of rocks. Well, when we break down rocks into smaller pieces, we call those sediments. And this top section tells us how that happens. So the first one is the creation of smaller pieces of rock through physical or chemical means. So breaking apart rocks into smaller pieces. This is called weathering. Now that those rocks have been broken down into tiny pieces, they move to different places around the world, and that's called erosion, when water or wind or other things move these little pieces of rock around. When we talked about the layers of the earth, we talked about as the layers were forming, the more dense parts sunk down to the bottom, and the less dense parts rose to the top. Well, this happens all the times with the sediments. The more dense sediment pieces go down to the bottom, and the lighter ones go to the top. This is called deposition. As these layers of rock continue to build and build and build, the layers towards the bottom get squished and pressure is added to them. We call this compaction. Those layers get squeezed and glued together into new rocks. This process is called cementation. Now, moving on to the bottom left-hand corner, we're going to talk about sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are created from the deposition of sediments in layers over long periods of time. It often contains fossils. There's lots of different types of sedimentary rocks, but just a few examples include shale, limestone, and conglomerate. Let's move on to metamorphic rocks. Metamorphic rocks are subjected to really, really high heat and pressure. This usually happens deep underground below the Earth's crust. So, no matter what type of rock you start with, if you want it to form into metamorphic rock, you need to place it deep within the earth where it's going to undergo lots of heat from the core and lots of pressure from the crust pushing down on it. Some examples of metamorphic rock include marble and gneiss with a silent G. The last type of rock in our rock cycle is igneous rock. Igneous rock is formed when magma and lava cool. Depending on how quickly the magma or lava cools, will decide how big the crystals are that these rocks are made of. If an igneous rock has large crystals, then it's going to feel very rough in texture. If it's made of small crystals, it's going to feel very smooth. So if you want to create an igneous rock, you have to melt rock that already exists down to a liquid. Then let it cool. As it cools, it will form crystals that create an igneous rock. Different types of igneous rock include pumice, obsidian, and granite. Alright guys, if you were able to print that out and fill it out along with me, go ahead and glue it to page 202 and 203 of your science journals. Again, if you don't have your journal or you couldn't print it out, that's fine. We're doing the best we can. But make sure you study that diagram and know about the rock cycle and how rocks change from one type to another type. I hope you guys are doing great. I miss you and I love you, but I gots to go.